focus on today is at what point in the sales process are you bringing up travel insurance to your clients? And I mean, we mentioned sort of how where you put it as you're presenting your the bottom line to your clients when they're booking vacations, like things like that. And I'm hoping you could give us some of your wisdom on that kind of process.
Sure. So I do a sales consultation with every client that wants a quote from me. And it typically comes up in that conversation again, like they just will start asking questions that lead to travel insurance. And right now, most of the time, it has to do with, well, what happens if the resort is closed due to COVID? Or what happens if I don't want to travel due to COVID? And then I can go into my whole insurance spiel at that point. Then on our reservation form, one of the questions is, do you want travel insurance? And honestly, whether or not they pick yes or no, we still always provide an insurance quote to them. We do that prior to actually placing any payments on the booking because I want them to see the quote. I send it from, if I'm doing third party insurance, I send it from the website of that company and they can see the entire policy because I want them to know what they're buying. And for many reasons, but probably more so for me, so that they don't come back and say, well, I didn't know that that insurance didn't cover such and such, because as we know, there's a lot of exclusions with any type of insurance. And like with health insurance, people just think, oh, I'm going to go to the doctor and everything's paid for. And we all know that's not the case. And it's the same thing with travel insurance. So it's really important for them to see that policy up front before they purchase. If they have selected that they want insurance when they fill out their reservation form, I go ahead and I send them the quote, but I include it on the invoice. So I'll have the hotel, the air, the transfers, and then I have a section for the travel insurance and put the cost right in there and send them the quotes so they can see it. So they're getting it right up front before any payments are made.
Yeah, I mean that did jump out to me when we spoke on Tuesday. Is that where you place it in the sales process seems to be impactful for you closing that sale. And we do have a comment in the chat. Christine says she's before I close the conversation, I strongly suggest insurance, and she said 95% of her clients do take it. And is that sort of the rate you experience with your clients is 99 to 95%, or is it different?
Um, I'm maybe not quite that high. With a lot of groups, sometimes if it's a destination wedding, sometimes those guests are not as into insurance as they should be. But I would say, especially now, we have a very high closure rate and people aren't even flinching. Like it doesn't matter what the policy costs. One I sold this week, I think I mentioned to you earlier, was two people. It was $800. They were older and they had an expensive room, but they just didn't even flinch and bought that insurance. So I think that's been one positive out of COVID is people are really taking it. And one of the things I say to them is I purchase it for every trip I take. And I'm now on an annual policy, which makes my life a lot easier. But years ago, I'm pretty sure I was my biggest insurance client because I would purchase an individual policy for every single trip, fam, whatever, I would buy insurance. So when I tell them that, it definitely gives some validity to it too. They're like, oh, if you're purchasing it, I should too.
Yeah, and again, I think that is